Greetings, fellow YouTubians, and welcome back to the realm of DJKC Productions. This here is DJ with a bit of a sniffly ears, so I do apologise, but this is the final version of, well, the version that I handed in for my final year project at university. I will say one thing before I actually get into it, because obviously I have made a video on this before, which was like a progress video on where it was at, and I believe I said I was going to make the menu look better. I do have some footage on what I made the menu look like, but because of how I was optimizing everything, the project actually broke quite significantly just a week and 3 days before it was due in. So I had to remake the entire fucking project in 3 days, just so I could still add some extra stuff and what have you. But yeah, so the menu still looks kind of crap, but it doesn't matter because that's not what it was about. This is an exploration thing / development tool thing. It's just a thing that I made, okay? It's, I was just testing myself in every area I could. So yeah, I'm going to start just by showing you the controls. Yay, it's pretty. Look, there's the controls. It works with keyboard and controller. Controller doesn't work with menus because the fucking thing broke. I didn't have the time to add that after I fixed everything. But, little things. I felt like I was going to say something. Yes, I made absolutely bloody everything in this project except for the skybox. That was provided by Unreal. I was going to change the skybox, but I'm not going to keep saying it, but you know the reason. But yeah, rather than carrying on about this chatty crap with random noises that I made in FL Studio using a keyboard and probably a preset sound, let's click play. I'm going to apologise for the frame rate as well, because my computer's not very good and I'm not very good at optimising stuffs. So yeah, this looks very similar to what it did before, although you probably can tell by quite a difference. There's a lot more trees, and I mean a lot more trees. I believe altogether there are 435 just on the entire level, even though most of the level you probably wouldn't see. It's just sort of there. The same like camera movement stuff's in and everything, even though, as I say, it does look the same. Like the landscape isn't in fact a duplicate. I literally was able to copy and paste it from the last project. It was just the lighting broke in the previous project, which is why I remade it. But yeah, that's stuff. This is a little ship that I added since the last time. I believe, I can't remember if I pointed it out, but it was literally just a cone that was a preset that was in place for that. I don't know why I'm showing you this ship, because you've already seen it in the footage that I've just put up with what the menu looked like, I've just realised. But, whatever. So the portals are still there. This would be like if I were to make this into a proper game, because currently this is just an exploration thing. There's not much gameplay. There's no win, lose, it's just do. But yeah, so I want to change it so that when an art style is active, the portal corresponding does disappear. So yeah, the second one is the cell shaded, nice and bright and happy. And then the third one is the Borderlands, so some very odd rocks, but I was just going for something different. And then of course low poly. So just realised that low poly makes the cave really fucking obvious in the distance over there. But yeah, that's that. And I've decided to map those to 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the keyboard. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I can change that to be whatever I want. I'm going to show you most of it in this realistic art style because that's where I made it look pretty, and the other three were more for like the development side of things. So yeah, little details I like to add was the trees moving. Yes, this texture on the leaves at the top there is something I literally just made in Photoshop with loads of strokes on a brush, whatever. But yeah, all the movement is actually done in the materials itself within Unreal. which is really interesting because, like I said, like before I did this, I didn't have the best knowledge of Unreal Engine. I've used it a bit for college and university stuff, but I didn't have the best of knowledge, so there was a lot that I learned during this. So, but yeah, all the little plants and things moving. Usually the whole thing moves, so I actually had to sort of like create a black and white mask to choose which bits move, which was done via maths. So I thank my A-level in mathematics that I did many years ago for helping me with that, because I don't know if I could quite understand the maths if it weren't for that, but you know, and I thought it was irrelevant. There's a nice little bit of narrative I thought was quite nice here. It was like this dirt patch leading up to where the ship crashed, as if to say that's sort of where it started to affect the Earth, along with all the bent and slightly more damaged trees. That's the kind of look I was going for anyway. Yeah, the rocks are still in and they've changed to the right textures, although that one's not really obvious. Doesn't matter. Future development, blah 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 blah. So we're going to the portal, and it actually tells you the button to press, which is literally attached to the camera, which I think if I get into maybe the right place, there you go, it splits the text, because it is actually just spawning that in the world, but it's just set as a material, whatever. So yeah, you can run around, and I've implemented a sprint, which is good fun. It's literally just speed up animation and make max speed higher, but you know, so you can run around the entire woods bit. It's literally just this tree planted 420 times, and then there's 15 of this one. That is literally it. I didn't count that to be 420, even though that is my sort of humour. That was literally just, I was like, yeah, that's enough, and then, you know, Unreal tells you about that sort of shit. But yeah, into the cave, which last time was just a box, I believe. It was, yeah, it was just a box with some random shit in it, which was that and a mushroom and a little water thing. And this is sort of the... Right, I'm going to go back because I'm getting ahead of myself, because I didn't write myself out even bullet points, because I'm an idiot like that, as per usual. The point in this wooded area was to sort of show the advantages of using different art styles. So like this one, you can sort of see everything around you has changed, and it looks really pretty, and it's very cartoony, whatever. Although you can see one disadvantage is in the distance. I'll zoom in now. Didn't need to add that sound effect, but I did anyway. It still keeps the realistic art style. If I change between, you can sort of see that a bit better. Yeah, that's a weird thing with cel shaded, is it only affects an area close to you. But it's not necessarily too obvious here, although you, well, I mean, now I've pointed it out, you see it a lot more in the caves. I apologise if the music gets a bit boring as well. This was just a 40-second loop I made. But yeah, so this is the new cave, which is a full cave system. In quotations there, quite big quotations. And this is the area that will lag the most when I get around to it. So you got all these like pretty little lights just to sort of lead you in. These are just small, just so you know what you're doing. I apologise if you hear any background noise. That's, you know, I don't live on my own, so. But yeah. So this is one area that was a bit strange. Well, the lighting also seems to have a distance thing going on, because as you can see in the distance there is cave being lit up, but as I get close to it, it will fade away to what it's meant to be. But you know, that's just that. Yeah, these are some bulb things that I literally made in like 30 seconds. Whereas this is just a rock that was generated, but I decided to make something interesting out of these, because these were meant to be like minerals or something. Where these are, the material itself is pulsing, but then there's also a light that has a what's known as a light function, which is a special type of material, but it's just using the exact same maths to make those pulse, so it looks really pretty. I should run back a little bit, because this is the area where I prove the disadvantages of using some art styles. So, cel shaded. Yeah, unless you spend the time actually making things look good, they're not going to look good. I mean, that's obvious, but the first thing is how bloody bright the caves is. It's the exact same layout, whereas this is like, oh, it's very mysterious and but that's like, I know exactly where I am this entire time. And yeah, that's because the way cell shading works is it uses what's known as banding to create the lighting. So when we were outside, you saw the character had lighting almost similar to the bulb that's currently black up on the ceiling. That's because you've got the highest colour, the mid colour, and the darkest colour. But because the darkest colour isn't a complete black, you can see everything. That's the darkest anything gets, apart from in the distance, where it's kept the realistic art style again. And that's what makes it really obvious. And you can see it's clearly just a distance thing. And it also shows that cell shading can't have emissive materials. They can have lights, which is what creates the banding, but it can't have the actual material be emissive like that, which is what's giving that the green glow. So yeah, and then there's the Borderlands, which obviously just changes the rocks again. Which, again, doesn't quite work for caves, but that's only because I'm using one texture for that. And then low poly, which is, you know, flat like it should be. There's not really much else to say, so I'm going back to realistic, because even though it's the laggiest, it's the prettiest. Because the area that we're about to get to, although it's still caves, is the bit that I sort of designed it for. Oh, look, there's that beautiful lighting in the distance. So yeah, filling the ceiling with a lot of emissive materials that are all doing that pulsing thing I showed you earlier doesn't create for a very smooth experience, but it's a very pretty one. There's one problem that if you look at the edges of the screen with the reflection on the water, it's like if I look straight at that side, it's dark, but on the very edge on the left, it's got light, and that's coming from the skylight. I have no idea why it's doing that, but it is. It's very strange. I mean, I probably could find a thing that fixes that, but that's just, you know, not important right now. Look at the pretty. If I stand still, it looks smoother. Okay, not by much. So yeah, these were the plants that I sort of designed for the water areas. And all of these do have dynamic lights as well. You can see I'm casting a shadow on them. On the rocks, rather. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's much else to talk about, apart from the fact, well, yeah, there you go. Ew, it looks horrible. It's okay. It could be worse. Could be better. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Which I am really happy with, considering I had to rebuild the fucking thing. Yeah, I'm just going to run back to the outside world before I end this. Beat me up, Scotty. So yeah, I am now using a controller just to show last little bit is the animations, because, you know, I did everything and I'm proud of it. Oh yeah, I can change the camera on that, so using the D-pad, so up for that and down for that. But yeah, so this is the idle animation. This is all keyframes. None of it was motion captured because, well, I haven't got the room nor the technology to motion capture. So this was all keyframed in 3ds Max. I made the model in 3ds Max. I just thought I should probably cover the softwares I use. Well, Unreal Engine for the game, 3ds Max for modeling, animation, and UV wrapping, all that stuff. Substance Painter for 3D texturing. So this character here was was textured using that in each of those. So what else? Photoshop for 2D textures, such as all the ground stuff, even the textures for the trees, and this little fern. Oh yeah, I've just thought of one other thing I still haven't shown. There was a lot that sort of went into this, and that's why I don't remember all of it. Can you see? Oh shit! There's sort of like a dark circle shadow on the leaves, literally just above me. And if I jump and position the camera, you can see that my shadow sort of travels through like real foliage would. That was something I found out was quite nice. That was a lovely little material thing. Anyway, yeah, back to this. What was the other? Oh yeah, FL Studio for the music and the 2 sound effects I made, which were for the menu. Yeah, so idle, probably the one I'm happiest about because it just looks good. You know, she's looking confused and looking around the place. You got walking, which is all done via blend space, which goes into a little more of a jog, and obviously into a running / sprinting, and then there's the sprint where it just speeds up the animation and max speed, because I'm lazy and didn't want to do another animation, because once again I had to remake the damn thing. Jumping is split into 3 different animations, which is a bit shonky, but you know, it works. So you have jump start, which is the double knee kick thing that I've done, so like right left. Then there's a jump loop, so obviously jump start is when you're coming off the ground, which goes into the start of jump loop. Jump loop, then obviously if you're falling for ages it would just carry on doing that animation, doesn't matter, it's just something small, you know. And then jump end, as they land, that's what brings the arms down, which then transitions back into idle. But I believe that's pretty much everything. This is 4 months worth of work, which then crashed, so technically a week and a half's worth of work. That's a very strong technicality. Obviously I had all the models and everything still there, so it was just a tedious process of putting everything back in and cleaning everything out. But yeah, that's change of art. I want to get a nice screenshot, so something like that. Oh, I don't know. I want something here. That might be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to stay pro. And until next time, salute.